Hey everybody, welcome back to Build a Website from Scratch with HTML and CSS. This video is called Grouping Selectors. In this lecture, we're going to take CSS a little bit further and learn how to optimize our CSS using grouping selectors. So open your code editor and create a new file called grouping-selectors.html in your code editor in your lesson 6 folder. In grouping selectors, just copy and paste everything from the class selectors file and just paste it in here, change a couple of the values. Change this to grouping selectors, and we're just going to add a little bit of extra HTML here that we're going to work with. So let's add some divs, and let's give this div the class of inside-box, and then level 3 heading, say an inner box, a paragraph tag, and let's say with some text in it, and just copy and paste that inside box in each of these boxes, and the primary box and the secondary boxes. Alright, save that, and it should just look like this, a little bit messy. Everything is just kind of clumped together, but we're going to use CSS and grouping selectors to make this look better. So in your CSS, I'm going to show you what a grouping selector looks like and why you would use it. So first off, I'm just going to create some space down here, and I'm going to put a comment here saying grouping selectors, so we know, at least for the purposes of this course, where our grouping selectors are, just so you can see where that is in your CSS. Better organization. So I could do something like this, for example. Let's say, so this isn't a grouping selector. Let's just say I want the inside box H3, so the level 3 heading in the inside box, this is a descendant selector, to be font size 20 pixels. And let's say I also want the inside box paragraph to be font size 20 pixels. If I save that and check it out, the inside box, the H3 and the paragraph tag are 20 pixels, and that's what I wanted because that's what I declared here in my CSS. But there's something about this that is just it's not right. It's not optimized because the font size for the H3 and the font size for the paragraph tag within the same box are the same font size. So there's got to be a way where I can just have both of these be in the same declaration, in the same CSS selector. Well, there is, and that's a grouping selector. So instead of having these two elements being styled separately with the exact same style, we can group them together just by adding a comma between the selectors. And let's add the inside box paragraph and remove this one. And there you have it. So inside box H3, comma, inside box paragraph, font size 20. So both of these are going to get the font size of 20 in this optimized grouping selector. So let's see, nothing's changed because it works. And you can add an infinite number of them here. I just separate them by commas. So there's another example here in the code we've already written where we weren't as efficient as we could have been. So I'll show you what this is. Primary box and secondary box have a number of identical styles. For example, font size is 24 pixels, margin is 0, 0, 10 pixels, padding is 10 pixels on top, right, bottom, and left. The same for the secondary box. So this is inefficient. This isn't optimized properly, and we can do this in a grouping selector and minimize the amount of rewriting this code, because the reason why you'd want to use a grouping selector in this case, for example, is if I wanted the primary box and the secondary box to be the font size 30, I'd have to change it twice. I have to go there and then here. Now, that's only if I have two of these declared in my CSS. If I have, say, 6 or 7 different instances of, say, primary box, secondary box, maybe there's tertiary box or whatever, throughout my CSS, I have to change those all over the place. So if I just had them in a grouping selector, I could change it once and it saves me time. And it's just better practice. So let's make this more efficient. So primary box, comma, secondary box. And let's just take these styles, cut them right out, paste it in here, and just remove those styles from the secondary box. So now these guys are much smaller. These are these styles are different from each other, so they wouldn't be in a grouping selector, but these are the same. Primary box, secondary box, font size, margin, and padding are all the same. If I save it and check it out, it will be the same because it works. We didn't break anything. So that's a really good example of the grouping selectors. Now I just want to clean up here. This isn't actually a grouping selector. I just want to clean up the inside box because it looks a little bit gross right now. So inside box, I'm going to put it up here just because it's a single selector, and I just want it to be grouped here with all of my single selectors, my descendant selectors, and my grouping selectors to be separate. You can organize your CSS however you want. It's not really going to affect it too much. The organization of it, it's just kind of more for my sake. I want to read, I want for you to see the different types of selectors separated. So I'm just doing it for that purpose, for this course. So inside box, let's give the margin 20 pixels on the top, 0 on the right. Now I stopped there because 20 pixels and 0, so I'm adding 2 values here. That means 20 pixels on the top and the bottom, so the opposite side, and 0 pixels on the right and the left, the opposite side. So the margin will be 20, 0. And then padding, 10 pixels. One value means the same value on all sides of the box. 10 on top, right, bottom, and left. Background, let's have it be 9 4E triple F. That's going to be like a really light blue. Color, 555. That's a lighter or like a mid kind of gray. Save that and let's just check it out. So the inner box here is just separated, and we can see it has the lighter gray and the kind of lighter blue, and they're all doing that because it's a class, and it just looks a little bit better. So that's basically the grouping selectors. Quick little rundown. You separate grouping selectors with a comma, and you can add an infinite amount of them. You want to use them so you can optimize your CSS code so you don't rewrite the same styles over and over again, especially if certain elements or tags have the same styles, and you can just group them together just to save coding time and just to have your CSS be more efficient. So that's it. See you in the next lecture.